Hi everyone, welcome back to StyleNovice and my Quilting for Beginners, where I share with you a block pattern a week. This is week 6, block 6. I'll be sharing the Sawtooth star block. So after last week's new technique, we're taking it back to our new basics that we are so well practiced at now. Some simple squares and half square triangles create this large star-shaped block. Again, the challenge comes in that we are working with 16 pattern pieces again. That's a lot of edges and corners that all need to align. So I have no doubt that you'll fly through this week's block. Let's recap the necessary steps. To make this pattern, you will need 5 assorted colours plus white. In the size 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, you'll need 4 white squares and 4 colour A squares. Now I've used yellow. In the size 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, you'll need 4 white squares and 1 each of your 4 remaining colours. Step 1, and back to working with half square triangles, but there's not so many of them today. Working with the 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares, place 1 white square on your work surface in a diamond shape, good side facing up. On top of this, place 1 coloured square, good side down. Rule a line from the top corner to the bottom of your coloured square and pin on each wing of the diamond. Step 2, sewing your half square triangles, and you know how the story goes by now. Sew a 1/4 inch away from the centre line on both the right and left, leaving the centre line itself unsewn. Cut down the original line to reveal the 2 halves and open and iron all seams flat. Step 3, trimming the squares. Your newly created squares can now all be trimmed to a size of 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Step 4, as always, this is the fun part, arranging your pattern pieces. So arrange your pieces on a flat surface with your 4 coloured squares in the centre, your 4 white squares in each outer corner, and your coloured half square blocks in a reoccurring sequence nested between the white corners with tips sloping into the centre of each side. The tips of your coloured triangles are forming the star-like shape. Step 5 is sewing your rows. Start sewing your block together by creating 4 rows of 4 pieces. Sew together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and open and iron all seams as you go. One by one, sew each row to the next. Carefully align all edges and seam lines and press before pinning heavily. Sew together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and open and press all seams as you go. Hopefully that was a quick block for you to create today. Congratulations, another block is done and dusted. I love that this one uses all our colours within the one block. Be sure to check out last week's if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week for another pattern.